SoundCartel.
You can spend thousands of dollars on marketing and countless hours setting up new tools and software to help grow your business. But if you're not investing in how you treat your clients and customers, if they don't come back to you or trust you, it's money and time down the drain. From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Good service means good business, but why not ramp it right up? Amazing service will transform you into the best of the best, and customers will be banging down the door to do business with you. It's a message that we've heard often from Darrell Hardidge of client appreciation company Saguity. And he wraps it all up by listing his 10 commandments of customer service excellence. The starting point, Commandment 1, is helping your people understand why. Why? Asks Heather Dawson.
Starting with why is really important for businesses. It doesn't work if you just hire people and tell them what they've got to do. They've got to know why they're doing it. And so many people, especially from a team engagement perspective, they really don't know what the game plan is. Why are we doing all this marketing? Why are we changing these things in the business? And a lot of this comes down from the very top, and the leadership and CEO, managing directors, shareholders, etc., they communicate their vision to their top-line management team, but rarely do they communicate this vision all the way down to the front line. You should be able to have everyone in your business tell you exactly why they follow the processes and procedures and why they're committed to delivering great service excellence. And the first reason why they should do it is to make sure that they know the business stays successful so they keep a job. Because if we all drop the ball right through the business, there's going to be redundancies, and I could be one of them. But if we all take great care of each other and the customer base, we'll stay a strong company. I keep my job.
Leads to commandment number 2, Darrell. Map it out so everyone's clear about their own roles and what they need to do.
Look, this is a big one because what often happens is people look at the role that they have, and they don't put a lot of attention into the roles that their colleagues have. So you have bottlenecks and different challenges in businesses. What we have seen work really, really well, and we have companies that do this, that they look at all of the job descriptions in the business, and the first task, take care of the customers.
Commandment number 3, you say the first 15% process is critical at every touch point. What does that mean?
So touch points, of course, are all the key parts of the business that people connect with. So they pick up the phone and they might ring up help desk or tech support or place an order. Then they get their invoice, then they get their delivery, etc. So what often happens is that the first 15% process is basically looking at it from a point and making sure that everything is documented, trained, processes clear, people know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it. And effectively what it means is if you get the first 15% really, really clear, it takes care of the next 85%. And often when you can look back and do the journey backwards, so you have a situation where something didn't work and you've got a major customer issue, you might have a serious complaint. If you look at what happened and you work it backwards, you will see certain points of that 100% journey where things were wrong. Like, oh goodness, we ran out of stock, or we didn't communicate, or we knew we were going to be 2 days late and we didn't tell them. So you will find significant points in the customer journey where things had slipped. And it's quite surprising how many companies do not actually have the most essential things in the checklist to make sure that it takes care of the rest of the process.
All right, now, commandment number 4, master your customer service bucket. Now, Darrell, we've spoken about your buckets before. Can you remind us what they're all about?
Yes, the customer bucket. Your customer bucket is looking at it from a point of view that if you know there are parts of your business process that is frustrating your customers, then you can be pretty confident it's going to cost you business. So basically, if you've got 100 A-grade customers today and your service standards aren't up to scratch and you're leaking 20%, you've got 80 next year. You've got to find another 20 new ones just to stay at the same point. So many companies, all they do is looking at it, turning on the tap a bit harder to get more people coming into their customer market and not doing anything about plugging the holes of the ones leaking out. Plugging the leaks is the cheapest part of business, and it's absolutely astounding as to how many companies get this wrong. What they do is they pay commissions and bonuses and all kinds of things on bringing new customers into the business, and they have nothing as far as keeping them. So you can have account managers that have really loyal clients they've had for years, and there's no remuneration for keeping someone, but there's plenty of remuneration to get a new one and then lose it. It's amazing at how often it happens.
Commandment number 5, taking internal responsibility, Darrell, which you say is actually pretty hard. So what do you mean by internal responsibility?
We've probably all got situations we can remember where we've had a complaint as a customer, and I'll say, oh, but that's the warehouse, or that's not my department, or that's the salespeople, they shouldn't have said that, or whatever. And basically they're throwing their colleagues under the bus. What they're really doing is making sure that they're responsible for their department, but they're not responsible for anything else. And so when this happens, you get a real breakdown. And this comes back to the point 1 of why everybody in a business should be crystal clear that they are all in the customer service business. When everybody owns customer service, they don't pass the buck. So internal responsibility is never saying to a customer, I'm sorry, that's not my department. Internal responsibility is saying, leave that with me, I'll take care of it. Leave that with me, I'll find the right person who can help you. I can't actually help you with this situation, but I do know the person who can. Please give me your details. Let me take responsibility for that. And when you have people that do this, as consumers, we love that kind of service because nothing frustrates me more than ringing a business, getting someone who can't help me, and they make it worse for me by saying, well, you'll have to call head office. Now I've got to go find the number. I've got to go round all this crazy loop trying to find the answer when they should know what the situation is. At a minimum, the training should be to make sure that everybody knows who to pass the baton to. Not pass the buck, but pass the baton.
Okay. Now, number 6 is the massive rewards of going beyond expected. So what does that mean?
Well, it's like the situation where we've all seen the ads, you'll be 100% satisfied. What I always say to that is as opposed to what? If you had a big billboard on the side of the freeway saying you'll be 85% satisfied, we'd all be thinking, what's the 15% I'm not getting? So giving me what is expected is the starting point. And what we say to people is satisfaction is where you start. So many companies see high degrees of customer satisfaction as the finish line. So if you've got competitors that see satisfaction as the game, then it's good news for you because they will stop at what we call an 8 out of 10. They'll give people just what's expected. You must know how to go beyond expected. Staying ahead of the market is critical because if you don't stay ahead of the market will go ahead of you.
Okay. Now, clear the fog. That's another commandment. What does that mean?
Staying relevant. So if you just give people what they expect, you're not memorable. If you're not remarkable, you're not memorable. And if you're not memorable, you've got to spend a fortune making yourself relevant again, which is usually linked to a cheap deal and some kind of gimmick. What we look at is you can look at any scenario, any individual can think about where they've delivered a 10 out of 10 experience, or where they've received rather a 10 out of 10 experience, and you don't forget those businesses. It can be years later, you will still remember those companies that gave you a great experience. That's what makes you relevant. If you give them a really bad experience, of course, they'll remember that one and they're never coming back and they're telling their friends. But the big challenge for most businesses is they're actually in the fog of irrelevance and they don't even know about it. And they call that the marketplace. They call that it's a tough market, it's a price-driven market. Our competitors are constantly challenging us on cheap deals, etc. And if any of the people listening here find themselves in that really tricky situation, what you're probably finding is you're not standing out. You're just average. And if you're just delivering satisfaction, which is an average experience, you don't give me a reason to remember you. And unless you're in my face all the time with ads or signage or you're convenient to my house or something like that, I'm not going to remember you at all.
Well, this leads on to a couple of other commandments of yours, the importance of appreciation.
Yes.
And navigating the price trap.
So the thing with appreciation is that when you achieve high levels of customer appreciation, you're automatically out of the fog. You're relevant to them. You're gone beyond expected. Your team's taken internal responsibility. Your first 15% process is in play. All of these things are clicking into gear. When you have appreciative customers, you pretty much own your market. And the big thing about appreciation is finding out what it is that your market values that's an emotional heart connection. If you've got customer appreciation because you've got stock on the shelf and you've got good car parking, well, then you're pretty vulnerable. But if you've got appreciation because I can totally trust you, that you understand my business, that you'll go out of your way to be helpful, if that's why you have appreciation, then you're a very, very strong business.
Final commandment, number 10, is operate at 110%. This is like beyond expected.
The best of the best have an edge. You look at any number one company, they always go above and beyond, and not just in one area. They have so many parts of their business that are designed to be optimal. If you make sure that everything you do is designed to be an optimal customer experience, and you must start with your team to make sure that they know exactly what 110% looks like, then they will be able to automatically be driven and back to point one being why I should care around how to deliver that extraordinary customer experience.
That was Saguity CEO Darrell Hardidge. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel.